how was it coming back to this old franchise that's kind of become a cult favorite over the years and working with the men themselves, Keanu and Alex?
Whoa, it was fantastic. I was, it was a long time ago. It was like, what was it, 29 years or something like that. But we set foot on, as soon as we met on the set, and I was in the makeup and the robes and the boots that make me 6'2" or whatever, and the scythe. As soon as, it was like we had never stopped. It was like no time had passed at all. The spirit was there, the energy was there, just the kind of fun. We're all older, we all look a little different, but I think the spirit was, the spirit hadn't gotten old.
The first two movies are legendary. They're such favorites amongst rock and metal fans because they're such classic rock and metal movies.
Right.
Can you tell me about when you were making these first two movies, Playing Death, and the connection that these movies have with those that subculture of rock and heavy metal?
When I played Death, I think I was maybe, I don't know, when was it? 1990. I guess I was 40 years old. My musical interests all happened in the 60s and the 70s. In 1965, I bought my first electric guitar. It was a Epiphone Sorrento, the single cutaway. And we had a garage band called the Night Riders, KNIGHT RYDER. And we used to play, high school dances and play the Grange Hall and parties and Battle of the Bands. So, but my music, my introduction to music in my life happened just a decade or two before yours, I think. I have to say, I was thrilled with the way that, like the Battle of the Bands, was the way we did that in Bogus Journey. The music was phenomenal. I love the music in God Gave Rock and Roll to You. I thought that was just a genius song to end the movie with. I've never been a huge metalhead myself, but I did appreciate it in the movie.
When you were growing up, like, what were some of your favorite bands? Like, what are the really meaningful bands and albums that affected your life?
Well, the Beatles came along and sort of swept everybody away. But in the middle of, I was a Stones fan. It was one of the reasons why I left the garage band, actually, and went off and did acting, because I didn't really see much future in just, how well can you play Louie Louie? Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young hit about that time, and James Taylor hit about that time. Paul Simon was writing these extraordinary things. Those singer-songwriters and people they were pushing the music into a different, it wasn't bubblegum anymore. It was, there was something, there was more meat on the bones. Dylan, I've always been a Dylan fan. I loved it when he went electric.
Yeah.
I was ready. I was, and the band,
Oh yeah.
Creedence Clearwater. There were a lot of them. It was a fun time. And that's when I went out and I bought my Epiphone Sorrento, which, by the way, I still have. It still has the hang tags. And Dweezil Zappa was at my house one day and started fiddling around on it and said, "Bill, can I borrow this? I'm making an album." And I said, "Sure. But if you bring it back, but make me a cassette of you playing it so I can hear what it sounds like when somebody who's really good plays this guitar. And he did, and he brought it back like 6 months later. I was like, with a cassette, and the cassette it goes like, hi Bill, this is what your guitar sounds like when you play it. This is what it might sound like if I played it. And he hits this pedal, right? And the thing just goes, he just like, this thing is screaming, and he shreds for like 40 seconds and plays a billion notes, and then so thanks for lending me the guitar, Bill. It goes back to that. It was just fun. Anyway.
That's the most Zappa thing I've ever heard in my life.
Nothing makes me happier than music. And it's instant, and it's like a drug in your veins, It's just, I'll hear a song on the radio and I can feel my spirit just lift up. So
yeah, it's magic in real life.
Yeah,
sure.
It just is. It just is.
Absolutely. So your character of Death, what are there any influences that you took specifically for your character?
The accent that I use I stole from an actor that I worked with in New York, who is Czechoslovakian, and he has, I did a play with him at the Public Theater back in 1978 or something, and but he was always talking like this, was talking like that, and this sort of broken English, and I thought it was terrific. I thought it was very funny. And when the audition happened for Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, I couldn't see myself going in and just reading it in my own voice. I don't know that it would have. I don't know. Death wanted to be more foreign or something, and I'd always liked that accent. It was like, you can read the phone book and it comes out funny. People will laugh.